Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Live Strong podcast. Was that really good or was it really good? I know it was. Now, I hope everyone is having a fabulous week. I'm back again with another episode, another little chit chat with Liv. Today we are back on the solo episodes. Hopefully, you enjoyed last week's episode with my Hyrox partner Febbles. Haven't had a person on the podcast in a little while, so it was nice to have a chit chat with someone and not just be literally talking to myself in the study holding onto a powder pop stick, because that is the reality of this podcast, guys. As I've said before, one day I'm going to get a bit more of a proper setup, but today is not the day. But one day we will get there. Now, today we're going to talk about my roles and responsibility in Live Strong the business. Because I feel like maybe I don't talk about business that much. Maybe I do, but I think I talk a lot about like training and the gym. But in order to run a successful gym, it is more than just the training. And I've only spoken to the podcast before about like how I started as a trainer and stuff, but obviously over the years the gym has evolved and it's changed and it's grown. And as that's happened, I've also like changed, evolved and grown up, and I've taken on a lot more responsibility with my life as the gym has evolved as well. So my role has always like sort of continued to change, and I've continued to do more, do less in different areas and whatnot. But I guess it might be interesting to know what hats I wear at the moment and what my job description is. So if that's something you're interested in, keep listening, because that's what I'm going to ramble on about for the next like 20 minutes. So yes, what do I even do? This is what we all want to know. What do I do? I also want to know what I'm bloody doing. So obviously as a trainer, you work shift work essentially, or like split shifts, because in terms of group classes run in the morning and they run in the arvo, and even PTs, they also run in the morning and in the arvo, because obviously most people work in the middle of the day, so they need to train around that. So a lot of people who are personal trainers do this split shift situation. And I get a lot of people saying to me, I guess this isn't to toot my own horn or anything, but a lot of people say to me, oh, how do you get up so early and then, you finish, pretty late, and then you do it the next day and you do it every day, blah, 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 which I do, most days. And then people are like, oh, but you get the middle of the day off, don't you? And I'm like, well, yes, in my head, being like, no, because the business still has to run. So I work physically in the gym, but to be honest, guys, I work more physically outside of the gym. Like, my job description is predominantly outside of being a physical coach in the gym these days, and it will probably continue to evolve in that direction forever. But not completely, because I do love coaching. Like, I love coaching. It's still my passion. It's my joy. It's still a lot of my job. But like I said, my job is probably 40% physical coaching and 60% running a business. So I'm definitely I do a lot more behind the scenes. So when you think in the middle of the day, I'm not doing anything, I'm making this bitch run. This gym has to run by someone, and I am the one. Because I do predominantly most things myself. Not everything. And I think as I've grown, I've learned to do less by myself, which has been really, really good. But yeah, I've been in business for like nearly 8 years now. And so it's been a while, but when I started, I had no idea about anything at all in terms of business. Like, I didn't know anything. I said this before, like, my parents don't own businesses or anything. So I think maybe if you were someone whose parents had owned a business, and maybe, like thinking of someone who like maybe their parents owned a cafe and you grew up in that cafe setting with your parents hustling to run the business, dealing with staffing and all these sorts of things, maybe you'd have a few tools in your toolbox. But my parents have different career paths, so not entrepreneurs, which is all well and good, but it meant that I didn't really know anything about running a business, right? And I never really, to be honest, even probably saw myself running a business. Do you know what? Actually, interesting. I feel like I've always been bossy. Maybe not my best trait, but I've always been bossy. I've always been sort of a go-getter type of person. So I think in my head, I never pictured myself running a business, but I think in fate, I was meant to be a business owner. Like, I think that was where I was always going to be heading, and I just never knew that was sort of what was going to happen. So that's interesting. But yeah, my job, like I said, majority of the time is actually outside of the gym. So I work pretty much all day. In saying that, my job has got better, or my hours have got better as I've got more staff and been able to delegate more responsibility to my team, which I'm very grateful for. So let's start with what my job is, or like what I do in terms of being a coach. So first and foremost, and this is at the moment, obviously, like I said, my role has changed as the time goes on because I used to do everything by myself and the gym used to be a lot smaller, and obviously it's continuously growing. So right now I write every single group program at Livestrong. So interestingly, you guys may not know, but a lot of group training gyms either buy their programs, so you can actually buy programs from different professionals in the field to get group sessions like that programming to be delivered and that's completely legal. You can do that. People who train at what I call like chains, like different gym chains, I'm not going to name any, but people who train at gym chains, nearly, I think all of the ones I know of, I may be wrong in some instances, but nearly all the ones I know of, you get given the programs by the brand, because when you're buying a franchise in that brand, you're obviously buying their type of coaching and their type of programming and stuff. So, if you train at a franchise of a certain big gym, then generally those coaches, even those business owners, are being delivered those programs. Where at Livestrong, I sit down and I write every single program you do, which I do pride myself in. I do think it's something I'm quite good at. Again, I'm not here to toot my own horn today, guys. I'm just here to tell you the details. But I think, again, it's something I've got better at over time, from trial and error. And I do think there's a special knack to group coaching and group programming. Even though I think you may be able to look at it and go, oh yeah, I could put this together. In terms of creating a program that can suit, over 150 people potentially, obviously not everyone does every session, but maybe they do. 150 people, we have people who have never stepped in the gym before to completely advanced lifters, all ages, all injuries, and also in a facility that our gym facility isn't humongous. So I have to be able to write a program that is also suitable for what we have in the gym, and for it to be able to fit 20 people to run this program successfully to a time period, and also obviously to get results. The results is the number one thing, but I think that's what people think about, and then they don't think about the logistics of running programming. So one of my main things I do in the gym is write all the group programs. And obviously we do like training blocks or training phases at Livestrong. Again, something we've evolved to do over time. When I first started writing group programs, I did sort of do willy-nilly programs. At first, it was just sort of a bit of anything, and then I sort of got, okay, well, we're going to do leg days, we're going to do upper body days, and we started to do stuff like that. We then started to just record our weights on a whiteboard in the gym, and we just recorded them physically, no focus lifts or anything. It was just like every time we squatted, we would look at our weight, but obviously we all know it's not beneficial if you're only squatting once every 4 weeks, until I've sort of, over time evolved into the programming that I do now. So I do that, as well as I obviously run group sessions. I think I run about 50% of the group sessions at Livestrong. So, once upon a time I ran 100%. So obviously I run a lot less now. And I think sometimes people think, oh, Liv, I don't see you that much. Are you in here that often? Actually, like I said, I run about 50% of the group sessions in total. So I think I run a group session at least every day because I run Monday. I run 4 of them on Monday. I run 2 of them on Tuesday. I run 3 of them on Wednesday. I run all 7 on Thursday, and then I just run 1 on Friday plus run club if you count that as a group session as well. So, and then I run Saturday as well. So I actually run, like I said, about 50% of the group sessions. So I actually run a fair few of them still. So that's like in terms of like the coaching side of things for the groups. Plus I also have my own PT clients, which I obviously program for and coach them as well. So that's my hours physically in the gym that I do every single day. Now, in order for the gym to run, obviously the next sort of thing is memberships. Now, I deal with everything with our memberships. So that's in terms of like processing payments, new signups, inquiries, like emails, everything that has to do with people getting memberships, changing memberships, pausing memberships, whatever it is, I deal with all of those things. So, that comes with a whole list of bits and bobbles. I've also obviously got my staff, which they are all bloody legends. But I think it's like anyone who works in HR or in management or anything like that, you're probably, you obviously understand the responsibility of having staff. Plus, Phoebe, one of the coaches at the gym, she's full-time. So I'm also like in charge of having someone under a full-time salary in the gym as well. So with my team, it's about also, rostering, everything that has to do with having people working for you. It's about teaching them, coaching them, keeping upskilling them, advising them. Phoebe works, like I said, she does full-time in the gym, and she actually now, since this year, does pretty much 100% of our social media. So we do like brainstorming meetings every month for our social media. So I still have input in it. Obviously, I feature in a lot of the social media. So part of my job is obviously we do blocked out content time where we record things and stuff like that. But she generally puts it together. So a lot of her role, when she's not on the gym floor, the rest of her role is social media based. But also with her PT clients, I help her in terms of, managing her PT clients because they are all under Live Strong, even though she does write her PT clients programs because she knows them the best. And that's something that Coach Maddie is going to be stepping into very shortly, doing that as well. Rubes at the gym actually contracts to us. So for those who don't know, Ruby has her own PT business, Thrive with Ruby, if you want to follow her on Instagram. And so she contracts to us. So her PT clients I actually don't have anything to do with at all. And then Nath, we sort of do his stuff together. As you can imagine, that's probably like a bit more of a cruisier process when it's your husband. So, dealing with staff is another part of my job. And actually a really big part of my job. Not that my staff need dealing with, but I think it's a special knack at Live Strong that all of our team are generally always on the same page. We have just over 190 clients at Live Strong, which is a lot of people when you think about it. And we try and deliver a personalized approach to every single 190 people that walk through our door, hopefully every week if everyone's training, which they should be. So it's really important that our communication is good. My coaches understand how to deal with specific injuries. We're all on top of the programming. We're on top of the goal and the outcome of our week. So all of that sort of stuff is mine as well. And then I'm also the bookkeeper for the gym. So I do all of the bookkeeping sort of situations in terms of all the things that are involved with bookkeeping, numbers, seeing trends, the financial side of things with the bookkeeping, like, all the bloody ATO and paying your bloody BAS and all the fucking shit that comes with it, which, the whole financial side of running a business is just like not as fun as you think it is because there's just a lot of responsibility and a lot of like things that are like serious, like paying super. Like like that's not fun activities, but all those sorts of things, the behind the scenes things in terms of like, cash flow and, like I said, in terms of memberships, like people's failed payments and chasing up memberships and all these sorts of things. So I also do the bookkeeping, and then I also do the role of the innovator of the gym, because gyms are a very easily replaced service in people's lives. Gyms are literally everywhere. So the field of health and fitness, trends, all these sorts of things, they're always, always, always evolving. So it's literally like a lot of my job and my stresses come from being able to keep up with other gyms and other trends and other offerings that people have. And I think I try and do my best to do that as a small business owner. Someone who, like I said, all of these roles I've like built out myself for myself, essentially. Like I've learned how to do these things, and I've learned along the way that I have to evolve the gym. The gym has to forever be becoming better and doing different things and thinking outside of the box and offering things that, I'm thinking not many people are offering and whatnot. Otherwise, your business literally fails. And I think like it's all well and good to, train people and to, do all these other things and have my stuff and be able to run a functioning space. But like, we need business to have a successful business, and we need to always be growing to be able to do more, because, I think, we are in an economy that is trying to destroy us all in the best way. No, not in the best way possible, in the worst way possible. Like, let's be real, guys. Like, everything is so expensive, and I think a lot of people think that when things get expensive, we start to cut things from our life, and the gym is something that's easily cut from their life. And I think a lot of gyms have felt that over the past 2 years or so, and much the same. I think there was a phase there. I think after COVID, everyone had like a good year, and then I think everyone crashed. And so in that crashing phase, we definitely felt it. People were not wanting to pay for their gym membership because they were trying to pay for their groceries. Or, that's an example of people who potentially couldn't afford their gym membership. But there's also people who would be rather to pay for a night out on a Saturday than pay for their gym membership. And, obviously that sort of stuff is disappointing, because we know that we are trying to help people. And, if they're not willing to pay for a service that's trying to help them, we can't do anything about that. So, I always seem to be evolving and doing more and, trying to be the best I can be so that my business is successful, because I do have staff that need their wages paid. I have a mortgage that needs to be paid. Like, I've got a life that needs to be paid for. And I've got, clients who rely on me to be able to do these things. And if I've got a gym that's being run down and not providing a service that's worth their money, they're not going to do it, right? So even though I wear these different hats for me to be able to, keep the business rolling, like I said, like the bookkeeping and the staffing and the programming and all these things for the gym to just run on surface level. I am always, my job predominantly, like I would say, is always taking the next step. Like that is what I'm always needing to do. And I don't ever see there being a time when I'll ever be happy with what I'm doing and being able to just go, okay, how we're running the gym and what the gym looks like and all this sort of stuff, we're happy now at the end. That's sort of just never going to be a time, which also scares me, because I think I have really bad imposter syndrome, which a lot of people in business do. The concept that, you think you're never doing enough, or you're never going to be good enough, or that sort of idea, because you compare yourself to others. You think, oh, wow, it looks like they're crushing it and they've just started in business, or wow, I wish I could, deliver, information as clearly as that person, and I'm not as smart as this person, or whatever the thing might be. And that's forever in my head, and I definitely go up and down in my mental health with running a business. And poor Nath definitely cops it from me when I'm like, because it's definitely never a smooth sailing journey. But yeah, I think it does scare me, the concept that I'll always have to be striving for more in this industry. So, I'm always up for the challenge and up for doing more. And even though it does scare me, and I'm saying that's something that's really stresses me out, it takes a lot of my load, my mental load, but also it's something I love. I love being able to deliver a gym to people who get results. They love, people literally love coming to Live Strong. They love our programming. People love lifting weight. They learn how to lift weight properly and they love it. They love our coaches. They love that we know their life. We know what their work roster is. We know what they do every Wednesday. They love that community aspect. They meet people. They fall in love with themselves. I love that I get to do that to people. And I think when people come to Live Strong, they get that experience. But again, like I said, in order for people to get that experience, we need to get people knowing about our gym and wanting to be attracted to our gym. And, and to do that, we need to be doing those extra things that are going to draw people to us and stuff like that. So I've sort of gone on a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, that's a big part of what I do on the outside of things, is planning what's next for us. And I do try and be planned probably at least 6 months in advance, maybe a little bit more. At the beginning of this year, I sat down, I planned literally all the way up until when me and Nathan are planning on going overseas at the end of December. I've planned the year. I knew, when this 8 weeks finishes in 3 weeks' time, I know what our next few months looks like. There's a vision. We've got outcomes. Today, I'm recording this and I'm uploading it on the same day, but today me and Phoebe had a 2.5 hour meeting on, content creation for this next month to 2 months. What are our posts going to look like? What do we want our outcomes to be? What is the message we're trying to deliver? And all these sorts of things. And I think, I understand, we're not the best content creators in the world. We're not, all these sorts of things. I'm not the best public speaker in the world. But to be honest, I think I could put up my programs up against most people. I would confidently show my programs to one of the most prestigious trainers in the country, and I would feel confident. Obviously, I'm always up to learning more, and I would take feedback, and I do think I'm not the best ever, but I fully back what I deliver to my clients. And even though I'm a bloody goofball, and sometimes I talk too much, and sometimes I ramble too much, and sometimes I can't get my word across to you all about what I'm trying to get you guys to achieve in that workout or whatever the thing might be, I do think that I provide a service that will get you outcomes if you do apply yourself. And in saying that, I deliver the information, the education for my clients to get that outcome. But if I can't force them to do it, if they're not going to receive the education, if they're not going to take on, the advice, if they're not going to do the work, they're not going to get the results. But if you want to do it, I'm here to give you everything you possibly can. And yeah, I fully back the service we provide and the gym I offer. And I think that people get amazing results at Live Strong, like I said, when they apply themselves. So I've just got to keep doing it, guys. If I keep doing it, I will take on the world. That's what they say. Live Strong goes worldwide. Just jokes. I actually don't think I'll ever franchise in my whole life. That sounds too stressful. And as you can already tell, I'm a bit of a stress head. I'm an overthinker. I work 7 days a week, pretty much every day. Even I'm out on the weekend and I get a message, I'll reply to that message. I probably have a little sneaky look at my emails. I'm probably thinking about not having too many drinks because I've got to get up the next morning and do something for work. My business is pretty much my life. And I do love it. And I love that I take on these different challenges and stuff, but, I think it comes with a few costs of maybe my beauty, because I'm going to have bags under my eyes from being tired. And, I think it can be hard on your mental health, and it's a big load to take on. And like I said, my gym, like the gym has now become my career. So like it's something I've dedicated my bloody big 27 years to at this point, and I plan to for the next 27 years realistically. And myself and Nathan, we have really big goals of where we want to take Live Strong, and as well as Iron Therapy, Nate's physio business. And I think obviously Olivia Hodson Personal Training started on my own in my own journey, again not knowing what the hell I was gonna do. Probably didn't need to swear there, but but I started there. It's evolved. It's got bigger. We now have, like I said, I've got 4 coaches. Nathan now has his own business that is within our gym, and that was a big step for us this year to take with, we've obviously done our renovations. And again, to some people, these things aren't probably big deals, but to us, like, that is a really big deal. Nathan now has his own clinic in the gym, like a space where he can see physiotherapy clients. Me and Phoebes have our own office to actually be able to sit down and properly work effectively on these things in the back end. And, that's one step closer to the next goal, right? And these things, like, again, I'm just a small girl trying to achieve big goals. And like I said, me and Nate have big plans of where we wish to take Live Strong and Iron Therapy, and potentially become something bigger together in the future. But you just gotta keep grinding, guys. So I don't really know if this is at all interesting to anyone. So I probably just had like a therapy session sitting here about like what my role is and how stressed I get, and probably need to just cut my phone because it's not the end of the world. I'm very grateful for every single person who comes to Live Strong and, does trust myself to, give them part of their life. Like, for a lot of people, training is a huge part of their life, and they trust myself with that, because in the end, I am writing those programs, and I'm the person that has the lead on effect to everyone else. But hopefully what you've taken from this is that I'm always trying to do more, and I will never settle for being mediocre. And I think, I started as a girl working in a commercial gym. Nothing wrong with that, but that's where we started. And, to having a little space, to now I think a gym that, a lot of people in Newcastle know. I wouldn't say not everyone knows us, definitely not. But I think, there's a if we have 190 people at the gym and they know 5 people each who knows that they train at Live Strong, that's a lot of people, that know about Live Strong in Newcastle. And I think that's a really big deal. And I don't take that lighthearted, and I don't take my job lighthearted. I don't take the responsibility that I have in people's life lighthearted as well. Another thing I didn't add on to this, I also do like all communication with our clients. Like, I think something special or different about Live Strong, like I said, it's very personal, but like, I'm texting our clients, where you been? Why haven't you been here? How'd you go with that job interview? Blah, blah, blah. And that's just regular, normal check-in messages. Yes, some people don't get checked in on that much because they probably don't need to, because I talk to them at the gym like every day. But, those people who I don't see that often, I personally sit down, I look through our client list. Who haven't I seen much? Let me reach out. Let me see what's happening. Do they need help with something? Whatever. And then, like, on top, to add on to that, obviously when we do our 8 weeks, that's an extra layer of job responsibility that we take on, which is just another layer, as well as all the other shit that goes on behind the scenes. So yeah, I just do a lot of shit, but I do love it. I'm not complaining at all. So don't take this as a thing being like, oh my God, Olivia, you do too much, you need to stop. No, I'm fine. And as I said, as time's gone on, I've got better. Like, I now have Wednesday morning and Friday arvo off the gym. So I don't have to go into the gym on Wednesday morning and Friday arvo. The benefit of that is that I can sit down and chip away at work, or I can be more productive for a longer period of time with the back end of stuff. But then I can also have a bit of free time because, like I said, I do think about work all the time, but it's not healthy to do work all the time. And something that I learned from Sherelle Grant, who was my coach running my bodybuilding show, was, look, I'm probably going to butcher this quote, but it was like, someone people who grind all the time think that's a flex, but people who have spare time actually are flexing. That was not the quote, but that was the purpose behind the quote. Like, people who are like, I'm so busy, I'm doing so much, look at me, I wake up at 4 a.m. and I don't get home till 8 o'clock, and then I'm, go, and I can still do all these things. Like, that's not really a flex, because like, you're going to burn out. It's not sustainable. You're probably not enjoying that much. The people who can really be flexing are the people who can be successful. They can love their job. They can be passionate, and they can also love their time with their family. They can have a hobby. They can, they can enjoy 8 hours of sleep, like all these sorts of things. So I'm forever working towards that more of a lifestyle that I think will be more sustainable. And, as I think in the future, as, me and Nath eventually have a family, don't get excited. Tracy and Jenny listening. One day, I said, not anytime soon. But when we do have a family one day, I do think, okay, how am I ever going to sustain this sort of lifestyle? So I'm working towards it, so the burnout isn't there. I look after myself. I prioritize all that stuff. But yeah, I do a fair bit of shit and I love it. And I always want to be better. So if you ever got feedback for me, if you ever want to know, you want something more out of Live Strong, you're not liking something, let me know. I want to know. I'm just a girl trying to run a business and trying to build a gym empire for us all to absolutely slay life. So big slays for us. But anyway, I actually have enjoyed doing this episode. Sometimes, guys, I record these and I go, fuck, just shut up, Olivia, you're raving on this shit, bitch. But today I think I've enjoyed it. So anyway, give me a like, review, subscribe, or whatever you can do. I don't really know. And if you've liked this, let me know. Like, send me a message. Comment on the Instagram post. I do get some of you guys, like my clients, mainly just clients, listen to this. I don't know if anyone else does, but like, love you guys that listen to this because I do enjoy recording them. But, some of you guys have messaged me like, love that episode or whatever. I actually love to hear that. Like, it gives me a bit of yes, I should keep doing the podcast. Because sometimes, like today, I left home at 5:30 and I got home at about 2:30, and I was just like, I really could have just had a shower because I haven't showered since Run Club this morning. I smell like ass. But I was like, sit down, do the podcast. You sometimes just need, that bit of motivation. But the good news is the podcast is now done, guys, and I am going to go have a shower. Big slay. Happy Friday. Have a beautiful weekend, guys. Thanks for listening, and live strong forever. Oh, woohoo!